viewers. So today we have Colonel Anand with us. Colonel Anand is a practicing lawyer and a psychologist. He has also authored a book called Gent Life Revision, which has got excellent reviews on Amazon. Other than that, Colonel Anand believes in spreading positivity around, and he is a YouTuber with a YouTube channel called Life Management with Anand. So today we are going to talk about job versus having your own business. But before that, I would really love to welcome Colonel Anand to Education View 360.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you,
Pleasure.
sir. So, sir, moving to our first question, please tell our students what is the difference between doing a job and having your own business or enterprise?
Okay. Before I answer this question, I would like to just very briefly touch upon the background, and that will give us the reason as to why we are actually discussing this issue here today. So, going back to history, the Britishers had employed Indians basically initially as translators, and then they got them into their civil services, military, railways, post and telegraph, and so on. So the aim was to have a class of people who is supposed to be extremely loyal to the empire. And that is where I think this term government servant somehow got coined. So there has always been a sense of, feeling that that's supposed to be very safe option to have. So as we saw in the Great Depression before the independence and also during the economic slowdown after independence, the people with jobs, particularly the government jobs, were much better off in such times. And the privatization and industrialization in our country took place actually much later than many other countries. So even today, if someone were to make a startup, it's still not very easy. There are a lot of issues, taxation issues, finance, and so on. So the classical conditioning that we have been subjected to is one of that. Government job is preferable always to any enterprise of your own. So with that as the background, I will come to your question. So doing a job basically means you are providing your services to someone else. So there is a low risk, low return versus while your own business, you are working for your own self, and whatever effort you're putting in is actually going to reward you in the coming years. So it's like building an empire. So it is high risk versus high returns. So that is the essential difference, I may say.
Right. So, sir, would you also like to bring out that what skill sets are required to do a job vis-a-vis the skill sets required to run your own business?
Yeah. So see, the skill sets required for a job is basically first important thing is your core competency. So for instance, if you're working on a workstation and you're supposed to be punching the machines, so you should know that job extremely well. So there is one is the core competency. Rest of the other things are, things like your loyalty, your sincerity, your punctuality, your organizational guidelines, your statutory requirements. So that is what is expected of you. The skills, technical as well as non-technical that you are, expected to possess. While for your own business and enterprise, other than the land, labor, capital, and enterprise, these are besides, you should have your own USP. That is very, very important today. That is the unique selling proposition. See, all services and products are all the same, but why is it that you choose a particular, say, option A versus an option B? It is because you find something different. So that is very, very important today for your own business. You should have a lot of flexibility of mind. You should understand the demand and supply chain extremely well and in changing circumstances. So as you've seen in the past, there are so many products which get, outdated and they're no longer there in the market. So those are the issues that you have to be very alive to.
Right. So thank you for that insight, sir. I have generally seen, I deal with a lot of students and they are always queued up, especially the Indian students are always aspiring to get jobs, work for multinationals. I come across very fewer students who say that they would start their own enterprise. So, what do you suggest, that why this mindset, and how should one come out of this dilemma, whether they should only go in for jobs or should they have their own business?
See, we need to come out of this old biases. The biases are extremely strong. That, it's a basic Indian tendency today to say, okay, don't take the lesser risk option. So that is something that we need to come out with more education. One needs to read a lot of books, read success stories of people who've made it, and ultimately you need to sit down and have the interview like we are having. You need to have an interview with your own self. Sit down, identify three very important aspects. One is the identified talents or the potential. The other is your hidden talents, public potentials, and one is your developing talents and potentials. So then you sit over it and see, okay, what is it that is best for me? So like in the army, we say, war game it. You try and see yourself, go yourself a little bit into the future and see which option would be the best for you. And as per your own limitations, your qualifications, and other aspects. And then arrive at a conclusion. Okay, if I need to do my business, then what are the options? And then go for it with full grit and determination. So that is the way I think one needs to go. And essentially, you need to come out of the old mindset, and you have to, because today India needs a lot of young entrepreneurs who can not only boost the economy but also give a job to a lot of people. As we see, as it is, a majority of people are applying for jobs, so there's no dearth of people applying for job, but we need this class of people also to come up. So that is what it
Exactly,
is.
precisely. And also, I believe now there are a lot of tools which, especially you are from a psychology background. There are a lot of tools which help the students and individuals to know their weaknesses and strength, and what are their core competencies. I have come across a lot of career counselors who conduct certain type of assessments, and then they give an insight into the personal areas of interest, areas of strength, areas of weaknesses. So I think that would also help students decide that what are they naturally good at, what are their skill sets, what are their competencies, what are they proficient in, and then maybe use those tools to take help and take a call. What do you think, sir? What are the reasons that as Indian parents we don't prepare our children for business or having our own enterprises? In fact, I am reading a wonderful book which is all about the startup India, and it says that it had interviews of 100 entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs, and here, most of the entrepreneurs have said that their family was against when they decided to take a dive into the world of business or startup. So, what could be the reasons for the family members for not making the children ready for this sort of work culture?
See, like I already said, the classical conditioning of the older generation is such, because they've lived through that era where they've, survived on small jobs and, made very less salaries. So it is for the younger generation to actually, come out of that thinking and, educate themselves and, probably even tell their parents that they are capable enough to handle new challenges. And see, of course, there are certain other issues also why people deter is like taxation issues in our country. We need more better refined taxation laws. Then there is issue of garnering of public money. So starting an enterprise requires a huge capital. So those are the gray areas.
Thank you, right, sir. So, before we really sign out, I would request you to give your last closing remark. What do you recommend?
So I have generally covered it already. So at the cost of repetition, I can only say yes, that we require more entrepreneurs today in our country. So I would ask the students to let their imagination, fly, and think of, out of the box options, think of new ventures, and come out as, rising entrepreneurs and go for it.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
I'm sure your insights are going to help students in a long way. And for our students, keep sharing and keep liking the video if you feel they are of use to you.